Sawubona, my name is Mthandazo and mina Ingane kaGogo. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed already to my channel, please click the subscribe button down below so that you can join the Mentorship family. So yeah, I'm in the process of transitioning my YouTube channel from the Mentorship Corner to Ingane kaGogo because I'm realizing that I would love to share more about my journey, my life journey, as well as my business journey. So if I box the channel to just the Mentorship Corner, I'm going to have restrictions and I don't really want to have that. So we will have a segment for just the Mentorship Corner on the side, but right now, Ingane kaGogo bafethu, Ingane kaGogo. So today I am going to be talking about the mindset shift that made me take my life seriously, if you could call it that, or the mindset shift that allowed me to be able to live a more intentional life. So I have curated questions that I think would be very important for me to answer so that you can actually understand. So if you are currently going through a life-changing experience right now, or like a life-changing, like life-altering event in your life currently, this might actually help. Or if you are navigating your career, you're navigating university, you're navigating your business life, this might be a helpful video. So the question is, what triggered the mindset shift? So disclaimer, I am not the girl that I think I am yet, okay? I'm currently in the transition of becoming a better version of myself. I just want to be able to document the process and also share it with someone who's in the process of becoming, or someone who is just starting out in their career or in their business. So for me, what triggered the mindset shift was the fact that firstly, I was struggling to stay in employment and I just didn't understand what was going on. So I would work and then I would resign because maybe the boss wasn't treating the staff well, or I just had issues with the staff members, or like the way the system worked. And for the longest time, I just kept resigning and moving, and then eventually my parents were like, we think we're tired of you resigning, so try to open your own practice and see if you can build a system that actually works for you. And that was the first shift. Why can't I work in a place where there is a flow and a system that is already built? Why do I always feel like I need to change this, I need to change that, or this is not fair, and then the second thing was the fact that I realized that my life was not where I wanted it to be, and I later realized that no one owes me anything. So I had to make the change that I wanted to be able to see in my life. That was hard because for the longest time I just kept thinking that even though I'm not a trust fund baby, so my parents are not really rich, but I kept thinking that they would always support me for certain things. But I had to understand, no one's coming to save me, and my parents don't owe me anything. My grandmother doesn't owe me anything. My family members don't owe me anything. If anything, I owe myself everything to make sure that I'm able to achieve my goals and to be able to live this life of my dreams that I wanted to be able to live. So that's what happened. So when I looked at my bank account balance and I wasn't impressed, when I looked at my assets in life and I wasn't impressed, when I just looked at how my life's direction was going and I wasn't impressed, that's when the shift happened. With Kelly, wake up and do something about your life so that it will actually change and become better. So that's what triggered the change. I just wasn't trying to find I wasn't like entirely happy with how my life was going, and I felt like I was the one who was responsible to make the change that I wanted to be able to see in my life. Okay, so the next question is, what was I doing wrong before? So the first thing was expecting other people to do things for me so that so that I see a change in my life. That was the first thing. The second thing was having a plan on paper and not executing it in real life. So I am a super planner. Anyone who knows me would know this. I am a super planner. I literally have a plan for my life for the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. I have a plan for my life until I retire. And this plan was done probably like 5 years ago. So because I am a super planner, I would plan things, like I would write things down, I would do vision boards, I would do brainstorming, I would do all sorts of things to plan, but there were certain things that I did not execute. And then I would sit with my plans 6 months later, a year later, and then I would ask myself, Uguti, why is my life still the same? Why is my life not getting better? And that was like another thing that I did wrong. It was over planning without execution. I am currently reteaching myself to plan but execute more than I actually plan, so that I can pivot and adapt as I go. What else did I do wrong? Another thing that I did wrong, I think, for me personally, was thinking that the things that my grandmother taught me about discipline, consistency, and routines and habits when I was younger were not as relevant because now I'm older. I was so wrong. Like, routines, so important. Consistency in life, in anything that you do, super important. Discipline is what carries me every day, because some days I don't even want to go to work, but I'm like, I made a pact with myself and I told myself, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to make the business work. I've got customers that I've promised that I'm going to deliver a service to. So I can't just afford to sleep in just because I'm not feeling like I'm in the mood, or I don't feel motivated enough to do it. I need to have the discipline to be able to do it anyway. And that discipline, the consistency, as well as the healthy routines and habits that I've been able to build, are part of the things that my grandmother taught me when I was younger. And I thought that I didn't need it now because I'm older. I was so wrong. I think those are the three things. Yeah, it's thinking that someone's coming to save me. It's thinking that just because I'm older, the building routines and discipline and good habits and consistency are not going to be as important because I'm at a different stage in my life. And then also over planning on paper and not executing. I think those are my top three things that I was doing wrong at the time. So that when I started changing those things bit by bit, I started seeing a change in my life. How did discipline actually change my life? Yo, discipline. Let me just explain what discipline. Like, so there's a video by Vusten where he talks about consistency. He says consistency is a very, very, like, it's a hard test. People will say, if you want to lose weight, go to gym for 6 months. And going to gym for consistently for 6 months for you to actually start seeing the results is very difficult, because when you start, you are motivated, you are excited, you have this big goal, and then when you go to the gym for the first week and you don't see any results, your brain starts telling you, this might not really be working. But the importance is that you have to do it anyway. So he said the consistency is doing something even when you don't feel like doing it, but doing it well, as if you feel like doing it. And that's what builds discipline. So for me, discipline changed my life in so many ways. One, it allowed me to look at my life from an accountability point of view, not from a victim point of view. So before, I used to look at my life as, this is happening to me, I'm going through this, life is tough. But now I look at it from a point of, okay, if this is happening, what is causing this and what can we do to change it? Is it something we can change? If we can change it, okay, cool, let's do the things that are required for us to change it. If we can't change it, okay, move on, feel it, move on, and try something else. And I have adopted the same style in my business as well, in my personal finances as well, in my business finances. So I look at the problem or the struggle that I'm going through and I try to see if there's ways to fix it instead of playing the victim. Another thing that helped me with discipline is showing up at work even when I don't feel like showing up. The one thing that people don't tell you about running your own business is that you have the freedom and the flexibility to decide if you want to go to work or not. However, that doesn't change the fact that a customer expects their things done whether you did show up at work or not. For me, in my case, customers will go to work because they need to get their eye test done. If you're not there, they're going to go and find an optometrist who's actually there, period. If they want to get contact lenses, they're going to go to the shop to get that particular thing that they're looking for. If they can't find it from me, they will go and find someone who is willing to do it for them. So I have had to learn to show up at work on a consistent basis. So even on days where I wasn't feeling motivated to show up, but I would still show up and I would leave my problems at the door and show up as the best possible version of myself that I know I can be for my customers, for my staff, as well as for my brand. Another thing that helped me with discipline to change my life is discipline allowed me to build routines that are important for my well-being, like journaling, reading, quiet time. I recently added walking and eating proper food, getting enough sleep. You need to have discipline to be able to do that, especially if you run a business, because life happens. if you're in business. Okay, life happens. You wake up today and there's this big fire that needs to be taken out, and when you get home and you're exhausted and you just want to buy takeout. I've had to learn the discipline to eat the right food for myself, take care of myself. Sometimes I do it well, sometimes I don't, but I have the discipline now to be able to call myself out on certain things so that I'm able to live a more intentional life. Overall, discipline has allowed me to live a more present life, a more intentional life, and it has allowed me to stop playing the victim in my own life and actually start taking accountability and do something about basically whatever it is that I'm going through. The next question is, what was the hardest habit to break? This is a good one. What was my hardest habit to break? I think spiraling. So when I started the business, when I'm going through a tough time in my business, I used to sit with it for days without finding a solution, and that actually trickled down into my personal life. So if I was going through a tough time, maybe in a relationship or a friendship, or my family's going through a hectic time, I would sit with it for days, and I would just allow myself to just spiral and just go on and on and on and on and on and on and it was very hard to break that. And I think it goes back to the thing that I said before, where I had to stop being the victim. I had to understand, okay, fine, my business is not making money this month. Okay, let's diagnose, why is it not making money? Is my marketing on point? Am I shooting content? Am I visible to people who are in the mall? And if this particular relationship or my family is going through a tough time, is it something that I can contribute to improve or make better, or is it something that I can just be a supporting cast? Ne? And yeah, I think that was the hardest. And I think it's also because I'm a first daughter. I'm the eldest daughter, so I always have the thing of trying to fix everything for everyone. It took me a while to be able to like accept, okay, I can't change everything, I can't fix everything for everyone, and that's okay. And then don't spiral if someone is going through stuff, because spiraling is not helping you, it's not helping that person. And then in my personal life is stop playing the victim and actually diagnose the problem so that you can come up with a solution that is going to be beneficial for you, and basically to fix the problem or let it go if you can't fix it. Yeah, I think that's like the hardest habit, that like it was very hard to break it, because I think it was something that I had lived with for a couple of years of my life. And yeah, being the eldest daughter, you automatically think the world can't exist if you can't fix it, but it can. And you automatically try to please everyone, you try to be there for everyone, but sometimes you just have to understand that I can't be there for everyone, and that's okay. I don't have to, it is not my responsibility to. Yeah, I've had to learn that the hard way. It wasn't cute, but I learned it, and I think I'm proud of myself. I think I'm proud of myself. And then our last question is, what do people misunderstand about growth? I think the one thing, maybe it's two things, like, but the first thing I'm thinking about top of my head that people misunderstand about growth is that growth is going to be consistent. It's not a straight line. It's going to go like this, go up and down, and then up again, and then it's going to stay the same, and then up and then down again. It's not a straight line, and that's okay. That's just how life goes. I use growth as like, in my world, I use the analogy of a garden for growth, personal development, some sort of like growth that you need to go through in your life. So if you want to get, for example, tomatoes to grow in your garden, one, you need to plant tomatoes during the time you're supposed to plant it, not on a random day. Two, you need to make sure the soil is fertile and it's ready to actually receive the tomato seeds so that they will be able to grow. Three, you need to water the tomatoes on a consistent basis, not too much, not too little. I don't know how you're supposed to water it, but like you catch my drift. And then when the tomatoes start growing, you need to watch out for weeds, you need to watch out for those insects that try to kill the plants and everything. And then once they are ripe, you need to wait for a certain time before you actually harvest them. So growth is the same. So you need to be willing to make sure that you're fertile. Like, make sure that the soil, which is in like your heart, your brain, is fertile. You learn the skills that are required for that particular position you want to go to, that type of thing. You're ready for opportunities before they even come, so that when they come, you actually see them as opportunities and not threats in your career or in your life or in your business. And then there's the nursing that thing. Like, if you have mastered a skill, for example, I'm an optometrist, I need to nurse that skill. I need to make sure I learn about optometry stuff. I need to make sure that I practice certain things. I need to make sure that I find my niche and I'm able to tap into that fully, and explore as much as I can about it, explore the new technology developments about that particular niche that I like. You nurse it. That's like nursing your garden. You water the tomato tree, and then you need to know when to harvest and when to replant again. It's like a process. So some seasons you will be planting, which means you will be preparing the soil, you will be planting, getting the seeds, and then some seasons you will be nurturing the plants. Like, the plants would have grown in your life and you would need to nurture the plants. And then you are going to get seasons where you are harvesting. The sad reality is that the harvest seasons, they are never too long, guys. Like, harvest season for tomatoes, there is not the whole year. It's not 6 months. I don't know how it works, but you have seasons for everything. So life is, it's seasonal, just like the garden. You're gonna have seasons where you need to plant, seasons where you need to nurture the garden, seasons where you need to harvest, seasons where you need to prepare the soil again to replant. So I think that's the one thing. Like, we would see people think life is consistent and you're just gonna grow. And then another thing that people misunderstand about growth is that they think that because you're gonna grow and become successful, you're not gonna go through challenges. I have taken time because I used to think that too, and I have actually studied some of the successful people I know from social media, online, the internet, and then I have had the privilege of knowing some of them on a personal basis or attending events where they were sharing their life stories, and they are just human beings like me and you. And all they did was they changed their mindset and they changed the way they see life, and they actually took action. They built the discipline, they built the habits, they built the routines, they built the systems to allow them to grow and to build the brands that they have today, the businesses that they have today. So it is very important to understand rules. Just because people are successful doesn't mean they were born like that. Some people were privileged enough to be born in like successful families, but even in that situation, they still had to find their own thing. They still had to find their own feet, even though they had the support, which was making their lives a little bit easier. But they still had to find their own feet. They didn't just become successful. So Ukopano once said, success leaves breadcrumbs. So if you want to be successful in life, look at what successful people that you admire are doing. So she said, for example, if they're going to speak at an event, they will announce that they're speaking at an event, and then they will post 3 or 4 reels or stories about that for maybe 20 days before the event or 10 days before the event, so that they actually get you to attend that particular event. And that's the breadcrumbs. They're always going to be there. So yeah, growth doesn't mean that you're just going to get there. You need to put in the work, and successful people did also put in the work. They didn't just wake up and become successful. What else? I think another thing that people sleep on a lot is routines. I believe that you need to build routines so that you can have healthy habits, and then you can actually build the consistency that gives you the discipline to be able to do things even when you don't want to do them. Because to be successful in life, I'm learning this too, you need to put in the work. It's a combination of hard work, being able to spot opportunities, being able to network, leverage your networks properly. It's a combination of so many things, but hard work is just as important. And unfortunately, it's also a requirement. Like Elon Musk works so hard, but he's so rich. I mean, who are you? I'm joking, but I'm in essence, I'm trying to say, don't underestimate the groundwork that is required for you to be able to get to the growth or the success that you see yourself achieving. Yeah, I have answered all the questions. I hope this video you found it very helpful, and I hope you made notes so that you can actually go and change your life. I think in essence, I just want you to understand that there has to be a change in the way that you think, the way that you see your life, the way that you see yourself, the way that you see opportunities for you to actually be able to reach the life of your dreams and the success that you long for so much. And to close it off, I just want to say, like, just to add on that, is that sometimes you don't have to do big things. You just have to do a small thing, like waking up at 6 in the morning to put in an hour of work before the world begins, or staying up an extra hour late to work on that project that you set your intention for your business, or that project that you know is going to give you a promotion at work. Alright? I love you absolutely a lot. I will see you on the next video. I hope you find this helpful, and I hope that you will share with someone who needs to hear this. I love you. Don't forget to subscribe.